Hello, I'm here on this rather windy day to talk with you about the Trecena of E. The Trecena of E, the new road, the new path, maybe a new direction. We've been through the Trecena of Kamei, the death of something old. We've been through the Trecena of Kawok, the birth of something new. And here's where we take it to the road. Here is where we really begin our path with that new thing that we have born into the world. Is all about exploration. It's about new experiences. It's about going out there and finding out what's to be found out, quite honestly. Sometimes it's going to involve pushing the limits. Sometimes we're going to have to do things that might push our buttons a little bit, that might be a little bit scary, a little bit different, a little bit new, but that's the only way that we're going to get those new experiences and we're going to bring them into our world. Because really that's what we're here for. We're here to have those experiences. And of course, every time that we take a new journey, we're venturing into the unknown. So, of course, it's a great time for physical journeys, for going places where you haven't been before. But that might not necessarily just be physical. That might be emotional, mental or spiritual as well. So we're going to begin the Trecena of E on the day 1 E, the beginning of the road, the beginning of the path, the beginning of the exploration. So that one, as I've said many times before, is rather like a seed and it often needs to be nurtured. Maybe there's a journey that you've been thinking about. Maybe there's an idea, something that you want to explore that has been at the back of your mind. You've been kind of thinking about maybe setting out, well, 1 yes, it is the beginning of that path, but it might also be not necessarily exactly the day to start with the first step on the road. It could be the first step on the road, but in a way where you're going to seek some advice. Because whenever we take a new journey, maybe it's a good idea to speak with somebody that's been there first, to get some advice from a guide, as it were. And so 1 gives us this opportunity to explore a new path and to receive the water, compost, sunlight to make that seed grow into its potential. What potential can we gain from walking that path? Or maybe it's a good idea to look to your friends, your family, or other such experts, as it were, who've been on that road before, to see what they can give to you, to see what information they might have about this new road. From 1 we're then going to go into 2 Ach. So Ach, the Nawal of home, the Nawal of leadership, the Nawal of the spinal column, that which makes us stand up straight and tall. It's bravery, it's courage, it's willingness to do things to make sure that our home and our community are well provided for, well cared for, because that's what Ach has to do. It's about taking responsibility. And when we see it with the number 2, well, the number 2 can represent relationships, so it might be about bringing harmony into your relationship. It'd certainly be about bringing harmony into your home, but it can also represent self-sacrifice. So maybe there are some things in order to take this new journey that you might have to sacrifice in order to ensure that the harmony within your community or home are preserved through the taking of this journey. From 2 Ach, we're then going to go into 3 Ish. So Ish, the Nawal of the sacred altars, like Shepodrella behind me. The connection with Mother Earth, the connection with our own magic. Now, where are we looking for that today? We're looking within. 3 Ish considers us to go into ourselves. It's also about looking for magic within the home. It's when we're not necessarily going to find things externally. Again, if we're looking at it with regards to the Trecena of E, we could look at it as like, what inner magic do I carry that helps me to sustain this new path, that helps me to walk this new path? What am I looking for within myself? From 3 Ish, we're then going to go into 4 Tz'ikin. Now this is where things start to get stabilized, right? The 4, the physical plane of existence, brings things down to earth. And Tz'ikin, the vision. So once again, maybe you've had this vision about what you want to explore, where you want to go. Well, 4 Tz'ikin suggests to put this vision into the physical plane. It's time to manifest that which you've seen, that which you can focus on. How are we going to translate that into something physical? How can we keep our focus, stop getting distracted on our new path, stay true to our vision? From 4 Tz'ikin, we're then going into 5 Ajmak. So Ajmak, forgiveness. It's all about being a human. And sometimes, forgiveness is one of these things where, it takes a bit of effort, takes a bit of work. And 5 Ajmak might certainly present that. But that work is always going to be repaid. That work is actually going to be multiplied. And so you could see it as whatever you're doing on that path, it's the acceptance of your humanity, the acceptance that sometimes we're going to fall over on our path and we've got to get it back up again. And sometimes getting back up is where we might find that we have to put the energy in. We might find it's a bit of a struggle sometimes. When we get back up after being knocked down, it's not always easy to stand up like that. But 5 Ajmak suggests that if you are prepared to put the effort into accepting failings, as we might say, deviations from the path or whatever they might be, then it will pay off in the long run. From 5 Ajmak, we're then going into 6 Noch. So Noch, representing the mind, representing the brain, representing in particular the left hemisphere of the brain, the logical, information-based side. This is where we're coming to stabilize our journey. This is where we're using the information, the knowledge that we have, possibly family knowledge, because the 6 can represent family as well. But how are we going to sustain that path? How are we going to overcome problems on the path? Well, Noch is the problem solver. We're using the information that we have in order to bring stability. And so 6 Noch might see you recalling family stories, family history, in order to understand really how to go forward and overcome any problems on your path. From 6 Noch, we're then going into 7 Tijax, the final cut, as we might say. Tijax, the healer. Tijax, the one who brings perfection. The warrior. Once again, as we step into our new world, as we step out on our new path, sometimes we're going to have to cut our way through. Sometimes we're going to have to use our discernment to see which way to go. 7 Tijax might offer you rather a few options to do that, because the 7 can represent kind of like multiple choices that might be available to you at that time. Which way do you want to cut your way through? Because sometimes we are going to have to cut our way through. With Tijax's keenness, with Tijax's determination, with Tijax's eye for detail, we can also see how we can cut just enough and not too much in order to finally break through, release ourselves and start walking our path. From 7 Tijax, we're then going into 8 Kawok. Kawok, again, we're just coming out of the Kawok Trecena. Kawok, the birthing. And here we see that birthing brought to completeness. The details have been brought in. The newborn is now ready to move on when we combine it with previous births, previous movements forward in this way. 8 Kawok is a great day to give thanks for the midwives, to give thanks for the female healers, to make ceremony, either to ask the rains to come or to ask for the rains to be gentle with us. But it's also a great day to make ceremony, to give thanks for the birth of new children, their health, and the health of their mothers through the work of the midwives. From 8 Kawok, we're then going into 9 Ajpu. So again, a rather feminine day. Ajpu representing, well, we could see it as representing the spiritual journey. We're talking about the Trecena of E. We're talking about our journey in this world. But of course, our journey in this world also translates to the journey of our soul. And this is very much what Ajpu is about. Here we see it combined with the number 9, the number of the feminine, So it could very much relate to the women in our spiritual path, but it can also very much relate to our life journey, our life's spiritual journey, 9 Ajpu. And so we may see here some kind of revelation that takes us not just on the physical aspects of the journey that we're on, but to understand the deeper meaning and how it relates to our life. From 9 Ajpu, we then go into 10 Imox. Imox representing the lake, Imox representing the great ocean of consciousness. Understanding how we all fit together. And here with the number 10, the number of community, the number of cooperation, of bringing it together. How can we bring our dreams and connect them with the dreams of others? Now, Imox can get us too immersed into the dreams of others, but if we can retain our sovereignty of our own dream, but understand how we can connect with others, again, this may really help us forward on our path. Who shares our dream? What part of our collective share our dream, our journey? This is a great day to be sharing your dreams with your community, because maybe there's others that are going to be walking that path with you. From 10 Imox, we then go into 11 Ik. So Ik, the wind, the breath of life. Ik, the one who brings the communication, who helps us to speak. Ik can be a changeable day. Sometimes we're going to have to deal with things come up, sudden changes. And especially with the number 11, we could expect these changes to come when we're least expecting them, to come out of left field, as it were. So, with 11 Ik, it's very important to make sure that we maybe think before we speak. We're all on this journey together. And as we encounter bumps on the road or changes in course that we weren't expecting, sometimes we're going to get frustrated, and sometimes we might allow our voices to become angry. Well, 11 Ik, they could be rather much more powerful than we expect. And so, as I say, better idea to take a breath and really communicate, to connect with your heart before you allow your words to leave your mouth, so you can ensure that they are helping you to go forwards. I also see Ik as bringing changes, and of course as we go through this new path there are going to be unforeseen changes that come along. Ik helps us to understand how to adapt to them. With the 11 coming in from many kind of different directions, we might feel like it's almost like kind of like I was going to say quicksand or something like that, but kind of like everything's shifting under our feet as we're walking along. But that's how we learn to balance. That's how we learn to adapt. So once again, rather than react, and perhaps react with words we might later regret, perhaps it's better to understand how to shift and adapt to those changes so that it can truly teach us. From 11 Ik, we're then going into 12 Aq'ab'al. So Aq'ab'al, the dawn and the dusk, the twilight time. Aq'ab'al represents new concepts. It's a new concept, the new day, which is coming through. And of course, this is what we're going to come across on our path. This is what we're going to learn about on our path. But here we see it with the number 12 representing all of our life's experiences. And so maybe there are some concepts that you learned earlier on in life that are going to help you to go forwards on your path, that are going to help you to understand what to do on your path. Now, one of the things with Aq'ab'al is it's also said about the illumination, because it's like the sunrise, the sun's illuminating what may have been hidden in the dark. So again, on the new path, we might get confused, we might not know which direction to go, we might sort of feel like we're a bit lost in the darkness. Well, 12 Aq'ab'al suggests that we draw on our previous life experiences to illuminate what's ahead of us, to bring in new concepts, to bring them together using our life experience, again, perhaps as a guide on our path. And then finally, we end up in 13 Cat. Cat, the carrying net. Cat, which we gather our needs for the path and bring it together in one bundle. As part of that process, we might have to release a few things that we can't carry any longer. Now, Cat days are always good for sorting that out, but this Cat day is brought to us by the number 13. and the number 13 representing the ancestors, representing the spirit world. Now, in its most grandiose kind of aspect, we could possibly see a gift from the ancestors, a gift from spirit, something that we hold in our net, or something that we could receive in our net that's going to help us on our journey. But in order for that to come in, we may have to make way, we may have to make space for it in our net. So it's a great day to consult with the ancestors, to consult with spirit, in whichever way, shape or form you choose, to understand what it's time to let go of and what it's time to accept as part of your path and the way that you're going to walk it. So, thanks for listening. I hope that's going to guide you well in the next 13 days. And I look forward to speaking with you about the Trecena of Can in 13 days' time. Thank you.